promises an all-inclusive government, a ramping of the economy and job creation if elected president. Governorship race with the candidate of the Socio-Democratic Party in the state, and that is Dr. Umar Ardo. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. You're welcome back. And the 5 aggrieved governors on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, known as the G5, have expressed readiness to play prominent roles that will change the narrative of elections in Nigeria. They stated this at a dinner held in preparation for Governor Oyo Makinde's re-election campaign flag-off in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. In his remarks, Governor Makinde, the G5, as an integrity group, said Nigeria is at a point where a decision has to be taken for the peace, progress, and development of the country.
This country must move forward. For me, it's not about ethnicity, but the point is that equity, fairness, and justice. We have never done anything anybody can say that we do not want our country to move forward. And let me tell anybody who cares, and I stand here to say today, it doesn't matter what you think or what you believe. This country is at a point that we need the unity of this country to survive.
The issue with G5, what we stand for, what we represent, I'll keep everything until tomorrow when we're talking to the majority of our people. But I'd like to end by saying that this is the integrity group, and Nigeria is at a point where decisions have to be taken.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has flagged off the campaign for the re-election of Governor Oyo Makinde in Oyo State. The ceremony took place at the ancient Mapo Hall in Ibadan, the state capital. TVC News' Olaido Yewole was there.
Thousands of PDP supporters across the 33 local government areas of Oyo State trooped out in their numbers to attend the flag-off of the second-term campaign of their governor. In their usual uniform outfit, governors of the People's Democratic, their support for the governor, the G5 governors remained silent on their choice of presidential candidate to support ahead of next month's election, as against the expectations of the party's supporters. Governor Oyo Makinde, who expressed appreciation to the people and party faithful for entrusting the destiny of the state under his care, assured them of more developmental projects if re-elected.
Under Omitutu 1.0, I promise a government that will put the people of Oyo State first. Now it is time to upgrade. It is time for Omitutu 2.0.
Top of the event was the presentation of flags to the candidates contesting under the party's platform in the state. Now that the 5 aggrieved governors of the People's Democratic Party have refused to declare their support for their preferred presidential candidate, the question remains that will this make or mar the ambition of those who are vying for different positions among the G5 governors. Olaido Yewole, TVC News, Ibadan.
In Edo State, the presidential campaign train of the All Progressives Congress has arrived at Edo State a day after being received by a massive crowd in Kano State. The APC presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, was accompanied to the venue of the rally in Benin City by the governor, Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State, former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, party leaders and supporters. Tinubu promised an all-inclusive government, revamping of the economy and job creation for the youth if elected president. He also promised to tackle insecurity in the country. The APC presidential candidate took a swipe at the administration of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, especially his inability to generate adequate power supply after spending $16 billion.
Elect me. If you want prosperity, elect me. Oh. You want security, elect me. Oh. And though I'm saying so now, I'm saying so throughout Nigeria. What is the better job that and I think was done before? Show me one. You can't find Obasanjo since our local government money, our salaries. What? The level of wickedness is that Obasanjo take the money and seize them. Will you call that person a good man or a wicked man? Say it again. So, if he say he had done somebody for you, no be poison he won't give you.
I want you to go home with a message. You must tell your mom why he has to vote for Asiwaju. You must tell your dad why. We need to speak through the issues. Today, we support Asiwaju because, first and foremost, he believed in the unity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with the candidate of the Socio-Democratic Party, SDP, in Adamawa State, Dr. Umar Ardo, on the governorship race in the state. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the first guest of the day. I am now joined by the governorship candidate of the Socio-Democratic Party, SDP, in Adamawa State, Dr. Umar Ardo. He is a former special assistant on state and local government affairs to the vice president and a former special assistant on research and strategy to the president in 2003. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's begin. They say politics is local, so let's begin in Adamawa State. How grounded is your party, the SDP, in that state?
Okay, SDP is doing very well in Adamawa State. We have formed the executive, a complete structure in the state. From ward, local government to states, we form our electoral colleges for State Electoral College and National Electoral College. We did our nominations, and we've been able to nominate all the candidates for all the seats at, 25 of the House of Assembly, 8 in House of Representatives, the 3 senators, then myself as a candidate for governorship. And then we came to Abuja and nominated our presidential candidate. Then now, only last week, we have finished our short list for the campaign. We are just waiting for the time, to mobilize. Essentially, there are 3 aspects of winning election. First, you persuade the electorate. Adamawa people have been fully persuaded in our candidacy. Then 2, you form the structure, that is the organization for mobilization, which we did. as I just enumerated, and then third, we now mobilize for the election. So it's the third aspect that we are now going into and waiting for the time to mobilize and win the election. We are confident in winning the election in the state.
I'd like you to relate to us the circumstances which forced you out of the PDP and extensively.
Sorry, I didn't hear you well, please.
I would like you to relate to us the circumstances which forced you out of the PDP, and by extension, could your exit from the PDP have been avoided?
Okay, well, I have been in PDP from the inception, and I serve, as you said, I serve in the PDP government of President Obasanjo and Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Afterwards, I continued in the party, but the circumstances that led me to leave the party, there are several. First and foremost, PDP never did anything in accordance to rule of law. They have never followed the law. They have never done anything on the basis of truth, and they have always circumvented the constitution of the party and acted in a manner that is unbecoming of a political party of its type. So I complain over these things severally. When they don't listen to me, I go to court. And I have taken them to court 11 times, 5 times at the High Court, 3 times at the Court of Appeal, and 3 times at the Supreme Court. That tells you that I really did not agree with the way they were handling their things, both at the party level and at the governmental level. But I stopped with the party and then continued until when the PDP removed Prince Uche Secondus unconstitutionally in using the instrument of court in the River State. Now, Secondus went to court and we put hearing till 30th of October 2023. That is 5 months, 1 day after the new government had long been sworn in. Now, we were pursuing this thing in order to use the party in the transitional election of 2023. But for the court, Supreme Court, to put it till October 2023, it meant that we cannot use the party to to contest this election. So I therefore decided to leave the party and then join the SDP. Now, I joined the SDP because SDP actually is one of the longest political parties in this country. It is probably the second oldest party in the country, second only to the PRP. It was the party of late Janasheo Musa Yar'Adua, who contested under the party, got the nomination of the presidential ticket, but somehow it was annulled. Then it was also the party of late Chief MKO Abiola, who contested and won the June 12th election, but again, the nomination, the election was annulled. Then at the state level in Adamawa, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was in the party, he contested against Dr. Balataka, who was also in the party and who took the party to every nook and cranny in the state. Then in 2015, even against the Buhari tsunami, SDP came second in Adamawa State. So it tells you that it is a party that has support base in my state, and therefore joining the party is not joining a party that is unknown, in the politics of the state. And I joined the party, and we worked together with those members of the party that we found, and then established the structures that I earlier mentioned. So these are the circumstances of my leaving the PDP and then my joining the SDP, and so far so good in the SDP.
Without doubt, the Social Democratic Party is not known to have won an election in Adamawa State. So what makes you think things will be different this time?
Well, you see, 2 things. One, both PDP and APC got into position of power through some riggings. Most of their elections, they got it through rigging processes. But after getting into power, they consolidated themselves, and then they became the oligarchs of the two political parties. But when you contest election against an incumbent, but in a failed system, then the blame goes to the incumbent. It therefore means that incumbency will no longer be an advantage to the incumbent, but actually a disadvantage to the incumbent, an advantage to the opposition. So that is one. Then two, things have deteriorated. Since the coming of PDP and then the APC and now PDP back into the state, things have not really actually worked. The economy has collapsed, security has collapsed, the exchange rate at the national level has collapsed, and authority has collapsed. There is a high cost of living, there is a low level of earning, and people generally have revolted. Ted Gore, the founder of criminology, says that when expectations go high and results go low, people tend to rebel. So it is what happened. People are rebelling from the inquiry. We give the messages very well, we put in people to understand the issues very well, then we are definitely going to win the election. And in Adamawa State, we are winning the election because people have been persuaded into our candidacy, and we have the structure to win, and we are also determined to mobilize on the election day. So this combination of factors has given us the certainty, by God's will, that we are going to defeat the so-called incumbents. Okay, and again, most importantly, the beaver system of election, which has virtually removed all man-made rigging schemes, which are one, multiple voting is removed, two, vote allocation is removed, three, changing of result is removed, and then four, irregular votings, they are removed. All these rigging schemes used to be at the advantage of incumbents and the so-called large political parties. Now that they are not there will be no rigging of any sort, then they are in problem. Those of us who are contesting against them have the advantage, because the election is going to be turned into like a referendum on the performance of the incumbents, and they cannot pass, the test. That is what gives us, the confidence that we are going to defeat the incumbents, the so-called incumbents, both at the state and at the national levels.
Umar, this is your fourth attempt at becoming the governor of Adamawa State, 3 times on the platform of the PDP, and now with the SDP. Why are you running?
Well, I'm running because the issues still remain there. The issues that we've been fighting against, that is to bring development, peace in our communities, they are still not attained. So we have to attain these issues, solve these problems. That is why I'm contesting. I'm contesting, one, to ensure that we have conquered poverty in our state, which is endemic. Our people have gone beyond poverty to a state of destitution. Then two, we are going to conquer hunger. Our people are hungry. We must remove this hunger in our people. Three, we are going to conquer illiteracy. Our people are illiterate. They cannot discern what is happening in societies and so on. Then four, we are going to conquer diseases. Our people are in sickness. They don't get medication whenever they are sick. And people, they say that once you get sick these days in our place and you don't have money, you are just a dead man. So, and then five, we are going to conquer infrastructural deficits. Our place is bereft of any infrastructures. And then six, we are going to conquer ethical ethics. The low level of ethics in our society. That is, we are going to stop stealing of public property, stealing of public funds, and misappropriation of public trust given to public operators. Now, all these are issues that have been there, and they are the issues that have been fighting the PDP, and the issues that have been going to court, to challenge and political parties, and they still remain with our people. So if they are there and they say, I'm not going to contest again, then what use is it that for all these years I've been fighting, I've been advocating for good governance, I've been advocating for all these values to be entrenched in our society. They are yet to be entrenched. So that is why I'm contesting to be the governor of my state.
All right, I hear you, but then I would like you to be very specific. What do you intend to bring to Adamawa State if elected governor?
Okay, now, I said I'm going to conquer poverty. That is to say, to turn Adamawa State into a wealthy state. Now, I'm going to do that through, first, agriculture. There is a Hausa saying that they say, Noma tushe arziki. That is, the foundation of wealth is in agriculture. Adamawa State lies longitudinally on the Benue Valley, from the beginning to the end. And the Benue Valley is such that it can actually feed the entire state and entire country if we are going to put it into agricultural use. So, and that is what we intend, to do. And along with the large-scale farming that we hope to introduce and work on, we are also going to put in the related value chain, agricultural value chains, the agro-allied industries, and so on and so forth. So that aspect, that is one. Then two, we are going to, Adamawa State is the second or third state in the federation with livestock. Now, if you look at livestock, it is a multi-trillion naira industry if well put into use. And we are going to put that into use. We're going to ensure that our livestock are well fed, they have multiplied, and then we bring in animal feeding feed industries and so on and so forth. So you also know that it has value chain itself. Now, the meat, the manure, the butter, the geese, cheese, every aspect, hide and skin, and so on. Every aspect of our livestock is a multi-billion naira sector that if you develop, you are going to remove poverty. And then three, we are going to introduce the economic aspect of economic trees. We are going to use our economic trees to feed ourselves. At least, maybe even in the villages, the women will form cooperatives. In Mali, they use that a lot to build the Malian economy. Then shea butter. Then we have locust beans, which you know that is also Morocco. Morocco uses the locust beans a lot to develop its economy. Then there's tangerine, there's gum arabic. All these are plentiful in Adamawa State. Yet on daily basis, they are being cut down. So we will halt the cutting down of any economic tree, in fact of any tree, because you cannot build an agro-allied economy without you taking care of the ecology. So we will take care of the ecology of our state. We will stop the felling of all trees. We will implant more trees, more especially economic trees from the south to the north, from the east. And we are also not going to sell like they do in Mali or Morocco. We are going to bring in those industries that will process these economic trees in our state. Then, fourthly, we will look at our solid minerals. If it means amending the Constitution of Nigeria to put back our solid minerals in the care of the states, so be it. We will work that. Let those who have oil, take care of their oil. Let those of us who have other solid minerals, take care of our solid minerals. Adamawa State is sitting on a huge, solid minerals deposit of all sorts, but it is there under the ground and it is not benefiting our people. So we will put our solid minerals to the use of our people and build the economy with it. And with this, we are going to raise the financial status of our state, and with the huge financial status that will come, we will now take care of the social needs of our people. We will give our people education at low cost. We will give our people health care at very low cost. We will give infrastructures like roads, like railways, like dams, like all and power and so on and so forth. So all you need is to create wealth to get these things done. And we have enumerated the way and manner we are going to create wealth in our state. And also we take care of the needs of the poor and vulnerable in society, thereby bringing amity in our society and reducing revolts and insurgency and insecurity across the entire communities of the state.
All right, Dr. Umar, at this point, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we will continue with this discussion. Please don't go away.
It's always a great morning on the TVC Breakfast Show.
Thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
With the array of stories that matter and what's behind them.
As you say, the first blow indicates the direction of government.
Tell us what really is going on between your union and the federal government.
Once it's generated,
you don't use it, it's waste.
We are not even sure whether we have a strategy for security.
Are you saying that there was nothing wrong in that?
Was he the one driving the taxi?
Answer the question.
Reveal your morning with all you need to know.
Like the
yes, just mundane lyrics.
Yes.
How does that fit into your scheme of events or duties right now?
No chief of staff, no general has the right to call a governor to order. The governor has been elected by his people.
Start your days at 7 a.m. only on TVC News.
So, all in favor say aye. Those against me, the ayes have it.
What do you know about the legislature, its role in governance, and as one to know about the legislature in Africa's most populous city? On Lagos Parliament to get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week. Events are critically reviewed. You can also observe plenary in Yoruba language. I am Abimbola Agbebi. Join me. It is of the legislature.
All right, welcome back to Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And I still have with me the governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party in Adamawa State, Dr. Umar Ardo. Thank you for staying with us. All right, now let's quickly touch on your presidential candidates, Mr. Adewale Adebayo, who is a man without prior political experience in Nigeria. You're quite experienced, so how do you intend to brace the odds to win the presidential race?
Please, excuse me, I didn't get the question. If you will kindly make the question again, please.
I will. Your presidential candidate, Adewale Adebayo, is a man without prior political experience in Nigeria, but you're quite experienced. So how do you intend to brace the odds to win the presidential election?
Okay. Our presidential candidate, as I said in another place, I would like to repeat it. Our presidential candidate, I wouldn't want to rate his chances of winning the presidential election. But I would want to, rate him as a candidate, as a presidential candidate. Prince Ebenezer Adewale, our presidential candidate, is the youngest presidential candidate among all the candidates in the country. He is 50 years of age. Then he is a lawyer. He a Bible degree. Then he is extremely a very intelligent person who has a very good grasp of issues and who articulates the solutions very well. And he is, you can say at a point that he is a successful young man who is likely to be a role model to the youth of this country. But having the best presidential candidate does not actually translate automatically to being to victory at the polls. He is doing what he is doing. He is doing his best. He has come to Adamawa State. We were with him in Adamawa State for 3 days. We went around the state, and we have gotten a lot of support in that state. And I don't know of any other state, but in Adamawa State, I believe he is going to do very well. I cannot say I rate him in other parts of the country, but in my own part of the country, I rate him high, in spite of the fact that in my state, we have a powerful presidential candidate of the PDP. But no, a lot of things, as I said earlier, are in to the disadvantages of those so-called big political parties who came in through untoward ways and then consolidated themselves and want to continue in the untoward manner. But thank God we have a new electoral system, the Beaver system, that will definitely get to elect the most popular candidate on the field.
Oh, so if I heard you clearly, are you saying your presidential candidate?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that where I know, I haven't been following him in his presidential campaign trips across, but I've been seeing him in the presidential debates, and you will agree with me that in those presidential debates he participated, he undoubtedly, beat everybody. He got the grasp of everything and related his thoughts, very clearly out there. So if I am to elect a presidential candidate, if I have just to cast one vote, and that one vote will make a president in this country, and they said, Dr. Ardo, cast this vote, I will cast my vote to my presidential candidate. Because I know that by far he is better than the other presidential candidate in this election. Under the present circumstance, he is undoubtedly the best presidential candidate who will solve the problems of the country. And in fact, he ought to be the candidate that will resolve the present quagmire that those presidential candidates, the major presidential candidates seem to pose, to the nation. So I will cast my vote for him, and I believe if Nigerians do not elect him, they will regret it later. I hope not, but I believe he will win the election if. I don't know. I don't want to make any projections, but I can assure you that he is doing well in Adamawa State. That's what I can say now.
All right. The major political parties contesting these elections have their traditional strongholds. I know you agree with me. So then, what will you say is that of the SDP?
If you just be kind enough to repeat the question, I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with the earpiece.
The major political parties contesting the elections have their traditional strongholds. So what would you say is that of the SDP?
The chances of SDP?
What is the traditional stronghold of the SDP? Where?
No, SDP does not have any traditional stronghold because it doesn't have even a councillor. I don't know, but that would be said by the national leadership of the party. But across, like in my state, in Adamawa, we did not even, up to now, we do not have even a councillor. But if you look at our plaque-off, which you have shown just a part of it here, if you look at our plaque-off, we did not have even a councillor, talk less of a chairman or a commissioner at Ribadu Square to give us support, so much so that it frightened the incumbent. The incumbent could not do that at Ribadu Square. He had to go to a small local government in Shelleng to flag off his campaign. So it is actually not about having the candidates or having elected people that you will say, these are our strongholds. No, and we said so. when you contest against incumbents in a failed system, incumbency is no longer a factor. Incumbency is no longer an advantage. The only advantage that the incumbents will have is to have their fingers, in the tilt of the coffers of the state treasury, and then take out the monies and go and do their campaign. That is the only advantage that they have. But these days, money is not a monopoly of only incumbents. A lot of money, go around, and a lot of people have a lot of money. So incumbents will be determined, the election will be determined by their performance, how they perform while they are in office. And I can tell you that both the PDP and the APC have performed woefully bad, because by 1999 to 2023, the two parties drove this country into a state of almost, we are getting into a state of conflagration, because a lot of places, complete failure of security, complete unemployment of our youth, poverty. We've gone beyond poverty level to the level of destitution. Nigeria is being ranked as the #1 poverty capital of the world. Our economy has collapsed, our security has collapsed, our exchange rate has collapsed, everything in the country has collapsed. Now, there are two types of failed states. There is where a government will fail in the hands of the state. We are less than 1 year, or 1.5 years, 3 different governments failed in the United States, in the United Kingdom. But you see, you will not be afraid to go to UK now, because the country is strong. It is only the governments that collapse in the hands of the country. Then there is the other side, where the country will collapse in the hands of the government. In our own case, the country has collapsed in the hands of our government, yet the government is now talking and explaining away this collapse of the country in its hand. So you can see that the failure syndrome started with the PDP and then culminated under the APC. So who are you going to choose? Is it the one that started the collapse, or is it the one in whose hands the collapse has taken place? Both of them are not good. So we need an alternative, and that is why if our candidate, if our party will put its house together, send its messages clearly, and do certain political events and activities, we have the chances of winning this presidential election, because people are tired of the APC and the PDP. People are tired of hunger, of insecurity, and of complete frustration of their lives and property. Look at what happened. Like in my state, for example, in 2014, under the PDP, Boko Haram invaded the entire northern senatorial district, and then 2 local governments in the central senatorial district, and for a period of 48 days, they were the government in power in those local government areas. After that, the government, the federal government, along with the help of the state, the military, thanks to them, they came and then they flushed out the Boko Harams. Now, you would have expected that at least the state government will establish a committee that will assess the level of an extent of destruction of life and property, and then do something to help them to ameliorate this terrible situation that they found themselves. But nothing. The Northeast Development Commission was established by the federal government because of the activities of Boko Haram in the Northeast Zone. But we have not submitted any compendium that this is what happened to us in Adamawa State. These are the number of people that were killed in the state. These are the number of people that were injured. These are the number of houses that were burned. These are the number of cars that were stolen. These are the number of animals that have been killed or stolen. These are the shops, the marketplaces that have been destroyed. These are the shops, these are the hospitals, these are the schools, these are the churches, these are the mosques that have been destroyed. This is the number of needles that have been stolen in our place. This is what we did as a state government. This is what is required of you at the Northeast Development Commission. And
Dr. Umar, yes, you say people are tired. You say
and do.
All right. Yes, you say people are tired, but the truth is the political contest in Adamawa State has always been between 2 political parties, the APC and the PDP. How will you defeat these well-entrenched parties? What are your strategies?
No. Whosoever tells you,
please go ahead.
It's mixing up. But whosoever tells you that the contest in Adamawa State is between the APC and the PDP, I guarantee you 100% is not telling you the truth. The political changed the pendulum. I can guarantee you that. The narrative have changed. People are now gearing for change in the state, especially with the woeful failure of the state administration, and then the PDP, and then the APC's nomination of a woman, which is at variance with the cultural, traditional, and religious values of the state. Virtually, it's a dead horse that been brought in, and the election is a foregone conclusion that PDP will not win the election, APC will not win the election, most likely and certainly SDP is likely going to win this election. The dynamics of the politics of Adamawa State is very clear, and it points to that direction. And any discerning politician, any discerning pundit, political pundit, will tell you of this fact in the politics of Adamawa State.
Okay, you were a political advisor to Atiku Abubakar. Do you consider the 2023 presidential election his best chance?
You said, do I?
You were a political advisor to Atiku Abubakar. I'm asking you, do you consider this 2023 presidential election his best chance?
Whether he's going to win the 2023 presidential election?
Yes. Do you consider this his best chance?
Well, no. I wouldn't want to say whether he is going to win the presidential election in 2023 or not. There are a lot of factors that one has to take into account. Now, for every vote, now, first and foremost, let us look at the traditional voters of PDP at the presidential level. There are three groups that have been constant PDP, and if the Southeast and the South-South and the Christian North move over to Labour or any other political party, then it will be at the detriment of the PDP's vote. So then what will be left will be the Yoruba West and the Muslim North. Now, I don't know, the Yoruba West, maybe Chief Bola Tinubu is likely going to win, I don't know, in the Yoruba West. And then what will be left is the Muslim North that will be split amongst them. So it is really very dicey. I wouldn't want to make any conjectures, but it will depend on the messages that they come up with, on the strategies that they adopt, on the people, that is the electorate, and then the candidates themselves, and on tactics and management of their campaigns. So a lot of factors will have to come into play to determine whether or not the PDP is going to win the election of 2023 at the presidential level. So I wouldn't want to go into conjectures, but this is my position on the matter.
All right, let me quickly take you up on other issues. Earlier, you said you took the PDP to court 11 times, which means your experience with the Nigerian judiciary has not been exciting. The court now appears to have the final say in our democracy. Is this something of concern to you? Dr. Umar.
Yeah, a word.
All right, let me repeat myself now. Earlier, you said you took the PDP to court 11 times, which automatically means that your experience with the Nigerian judiciary has not been exciting, and the court appears to, have the final say when it comes to our democracy. Is this something of concern to you?
About the Nigerian judiciary, you said?
The court appears to have the final say in our democracy. Is this something of concern to you?
Yeah, I actually, having gone to court 11 times against the PDP and its government, I wrote a book, Court and Politics, chronicling my experience in the Nigerian theater. And I have looked at the court. Initially, all powers are invested in the hands of one person. That is to say, where we have a full monarchy, the king The king was the executive, he's the legislator, and he also sits, in judgment. We have three arms of government: the legislature, the executive, and then the judiciary. Now, because there is an interrelationship between, especially there are only two persons that govern society. That is the politician and the judge. The politicians are divided into two groups: the executive and the legislature, and the judiciary is one. That is the court itself. Now, the politicians, that's the executive and the judiciary and the legislature, they are elected for a certain period of time and then re-elected for another period of time and then maybe no more. That is in our own system. While the judiciary, they are being appointed by the elector. So both of them have interrelationship. And when there is an issue, the first thing the judiciary looks at is the interest of the politician who appointed them and who can make laws that will affect them, affect their remuneration, affect their tenure of office, affect their appointments, affect their removal, and so on and so forth. Now, these things are at the back of the judge, where the judge is sitting at the bench, trying to pass a judgment on an issue, especially a constitutional, a public issue, in which it will affect the politician. So people that are not strong will usually suffer from this, and I have suffered this thing in virtually all the cases I have put in our courts. So it is of great concern that at the end of the day, after all is said and done, either one man or three people, or at most, or at most 7 people that will determine what millions and millions of Nigerians, have decided upon. So, but that is the nature of our democracy, and if we will all work, with sincerity and honesty and patriotism, I think the system is good enough to take us where we want to go to.
All right. It's 51 days to the conduct of the general election. So what factors do you think will determine the choice of Nigerians in the elections?
What candidate or so?
What factors do you think will determine the choice of Nigerians in the coming elections?
Okay. Well, sadly, the factors that will determine this election will be, there's going to be ethnic, there's going to be religious, there's going to be sectional, and then there's going to be issue base. But the issue base will be the last key element to determine the voting pattern of our people. The central will be ethnic. And for example, if you take these presidential candidates, you will see that, for example, the Labour candidates, his candidacy is based on 1, ethnic, which is Igbo presidency, then 2, religious, which is Christian dominated, and then throughout the open letter of President Obasanjo, you saw the leader of the Pan-Deaf Socio-Cultural Organization, Chief Edwin Clark, supporting that position. Then I also think I saw that the leader of Afenifere, Ayo Adebanjo, also supporting this position. The next one that will come is most likely going to be the middle belt, the leadership that will come and support the nomination. So if and I will support, the position of Obasanjo, that is endorsing the Labour candidate. Now, if these things happen, then it shows that these 3 areas that have been the traditional voters of PDP at the presidential level will now switch itself to Labour. And if they do so, then what will be left will be Yoruba West, and then the Muslim North. Now, this will be divided between the APC candidate, the PDP candidate, and the the NMPP candidate and probably also with the SDP candidate. Now, if this happens, then you can be sure that there's going to be a likely runoff in the politics of the country, in the presidential election of the country. There's likely going to be a runoff.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Umar Addo. Dr. Umar Addo is the Social Democratic Party candidate, governorship candidate in Adamawa State. Thank you very much for coming on Politics Tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVCNewsNG and at Olajumoke double at midnight and tomorrow for another edition of Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart device.